just clearing the space as I wait for some to hop on. What an intense full moon. This full moon was positioned in Ophiuchus, the 13th sign, even though it's actually positioned in the 9th position. We'll get into that a whole nother day. But yeah, just clearing the space right now. I want to talk a little bit about how, first of all, the moon is still in Ophiuchus and will be in Ophiuchus until 3:08 Eastern Standard Time today. So we still have a few more hours to bask in this new energy that is in people's fields. It's not a new energy in the sense of it belonging to the zodiac, it being in the sky and us being influenced by it, but it's a new energy that we are anchoring into our consciousness, being aware instead of just a subconscious energy, if that makes any sense. So this is a really potent time for healing. I know, it's like you can heal at any moment, but sometimes the stars, the wandering stars, the planets, they support us in our journey of healing. And I love when the sky validates itself, like when you know that you are aligned with the correct energy. Tropical Western astrology says that this full moon happened in Sagittarius, but that's actually not accurate according to the astronomical position of where the moon was. But adding to this really potent healing energy from the moon in Ophiuchus is actually its ruling planet, which isn't a planet but an asteroid, Chiron. So Chiron, the wounded warrior, is currently conjunct Mars, the warrior. So we have the wounded warrior conjunct the warrior. And this gives us a lot of energy directed towards our inner healing. Now, both themes of Ophiuchus and Chiron is that the wound is where the light enters us, right? We don't really like to be wounded. It hurts. It's very uncomfortable and sometimes detrimental to us. But through that wound is very often where the light comes in, where we can. And I really just want to bring this into everyone's awareness that we have a really heightened time to work on our wounds. Now, these wounds might be somewhat subconscious to us, as both Chiron and Mars are positioned in Pisces of the astral realm. Pisces is boundless, creative, highly spiritual, very connected to God or Source, the Godhead, whichever name that you're comfortable with. And so this isn't really a physical healing where it's like, oh, I broke my arm and now I can heal. It's very much a spiritual healing. So we could be healing anything that's really been holding us back subconsciously, programming, things handed down through our bloodline, things that our parents taught us, things that society has done to us, things that aren't always so obvious. And this is really a call to action, to ask yourself, where do you need the healing? To feel into yourself. How could you be better? How could you feel better? What would bring you in your highest alignment? So just take some time, because this is a really potent window. Matter of fact, the moon is actually conjunct the galactic center. It'll be exact, I wrote down a time, it'll be exact at 12:46 p.m. That's again Eastern Standard Time. And it will last until 2:20 p.m. again Eastern Standard Time, so convert that yourself. I'm not good with numbers. So when the moon is conjunct the galactic center, I don't believe in the universal model the way we've been taught it, but I do believe that there is a very potent energy spot in our sky, in the celestial sea. And with the moon being conjunct that really potent spot, we're pulling through a lot more energy, we're pulling through a lot more potential. It might feel very intense. The moon rules our emotions, so it might come through emotionally intense. If you are feeling easily triggered, your emotions very heightened today, again, turn that back inwards and realize that this is all opportunities presented to us to heal these wounds, to see these wounds for the first time. Again, we might not actually be aware of what it is that's holding us back. It's not always a very conscious thing. So a lot of times it's very unconscious. Again, with Chiron and Mars both being positioned in Pisces, the unconscious realm. The hidden realm, the realm that's not so physically present. It doesn't mean we can't touch it. It doesn't mean we can't see it or experience it. It just means that it's going to take a lot more inner reflection to actually find it. So Saturn is also, as we know, retrograde, and will be retrograde for a while. So if you're finding that you're dealing with themes and things that really aren't going your way, you feel like you're facing a lot of blockages, facing a lot of resistance, maybe people aren't acting the same way they used to with you, that's all time to look within, because karma is being dished out, right? So if you're not being rewarded, but you feel like you're being punished, it's not a permanent thing, but it is to get you to acknowledge maybe that you weren't the best, maybe that you weren't doing all that you could, maybe that you are living very passively, or that you are pushing your emotions and feelings onto others when you should be using them. You should be acting upon it, because karma really means the action, the consequences of the actions that we take every day. And so if you don't like what you're getting, it's time to look within. So a lot of this is supporting that inner healing, that inner damage that may be done that we don't always know where it comes from. It could be past life, if you believe in reincarnation. I personally do, as I know that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It all exists at all time. Therefore, you've been around, whether you were aware of it or not. You know, we go through that veil of forgetfulness. So we've accumulated a lot of karma. We've accumulated a lot of energy. We're dealing with wounds that in the past we come through to heal now, but we have to find them. We do have to find them within ourselves, because again, we don't really have the memories. The Great Awakening is a lot of us actually remembering. So we're beginning to wake up. We're beginning to say, hey, wait a second, this feels familiar, or I have a really deep calling towards something, a really deep connection to something of the past. And that can lead you to something that needs to be either healed or integrated. But it's not necessary for you to believe in past lives or anything like that. But definitely check within yourself, check within your spirit. Mars conjunct Chiron is really asking us to put action into healing, to consciously say, I'm going to put energy into understanding this core wound so that I can heal it once and for all. And even if you don't fully heal it, you can at least start. The awareness is key with everything in this realm, very much so. We have to be aware, we have to be aligned, we have to see what's going on, and always checking within ourselves, as this realm is always the internal world reflected outward, not vice versa. So if you don't like what's going on in your external world, very much it's a sign of what's going on in your internal world. We have to remember that. If you feel like you're a victim of reality, a victim of your life, check within yourself for victimhood. Where were you hurt? Where do you feel like you had your power taken away? Where do you feel like you've given your power away? All these subtle things, it's all involved in our healing of the spiritual body. So again, this healing isn't a very physical thing. You're not going to just see your wounds healing on your body. It's internal, and it won't be done overnight. This is just a really great time now to plant your seeds, to ask for this healing, to ask for things to be brought into your awareness so that you can heal them and you can transmute them. I wrote down, because again, I'm not good with numbers, so yes, this conjunction of Mars and Chiron will be occurring until the 17th. So we have some days to sit on this, even though the moon will be out of Ophiuchus. It was a full moon in Ophiuchus, so that energy does last until the next, right? They overlap. That's how these moon cycles go. So we do have a great window of time to work on this, to get deep within ourselves, to find the spiritual bodies, to find the pain, to find what it is that's holding us back. Don't be afraid of it. Again, the wound is always what lets the light in. And a little story of Ophiuchus is that the reason it's a snake bearer is Ophiuchus was bit by a poisonous snake and was going to die. And therefore, Ophiuchus, being a great alchemist, used that very snake venom, the same thing that poisoned, and turned it into the medicine, turned it into the remedy that is needed to do the healing. And so Ophiuchus self-healed through alchemy. Ophiuchus is the alchemist of the zodiac. It's the energy of the divine union within. It's the merging of the hemispheres. Though it is a very feminine energy, it does represent the divine union within. So a blend of both, but very heavily leaning towards the feminine. And that's okay. If you're a guy, that doesn't matter. You still have a feminine side, and that is where our power of creation and destruction lies. And so that's really what Ophiuchus is here to show us, is that, you know, what you think can destroy you is very often what births the new creation. The story of Chiron is very similar as well. Again, the wounded warrior, dealing with wounds and healing the wounds. It's really important to know where Chiron is placed in your chart. So if you have access to your chart, check that out. Depending on the sign that it's in, the house it falls in often points directly to what is your biggest issue, and not in a sense of like, this is what's totally wrong with you, but like the underlying issue to many things that you'll find. So if it's like in your 12th house, you might have an issue with God. A lot of people don't admit that, but that they feel betrayed or they feel neglected. A lot of times we come into this life with a disconnection feeling, and that's why we have to search for devotion. It's because we're coming out of the realm of unity, which is again Ophiuchus's nature, to be in divine union. And when we come into earth, or this realm, or existence, whatever you want to call it, we have to come out of come out of union and into separation. Hence why we're given the egos and we go through the veil of forgetfulness. And for some people that actually creates a bit of a wound, very similar to like the mother wound. If you weren't breastfed and had the placenta cut too soon, a lot of times there's inner abandonment feeling. So a lot of times people actually feel abandoned by God or source or their creator, and therefore either dive into resisting it entirely, refusing to ask for help, and it's just the wound of coming out of union and into separation. And that's okay, because we have to remember that the separation is simply an illusion. It's not really real. It's a temporary existence. It is something that passes, and we do again and again and again until we are able to break the cycle. And so if you're feeling that, you know, if you're feeling wounded by God or neglected, or that you can't trust the universe, feel within to yourself why. Why is that? Where have you been let down? And can you change that? We are in co-creation at all times. We are never in this alone. But we do have freedom of choice. And so it is our choice. It is our choice to reach out and ask for help and say, hey, I want to co-create with you. Show me where to go. Show me what to do. And then you won't feel abandoned anymore. You'll start to see that the power of our voice, us vocalizing what we want out into the sky, out into the universe, out into nature, whoever you believe in. It's just up to us. So I'm just going to do a really quick, I have my bowl here, you just can't see it, it's out of frame. So really quick, I want to encourage everyone to take a couple deep breaths in through the nose, hold at the top, and release. We'll do 2 more. In. And out through the mouth. Last one. Beautiful. And now I'm just going to ring my singing bowl for a little bit, as this is the 528 hertz. It's for DNA repair, for deep healing. And just breathe. Search within yourself. Feel where maybe you've neglected yourself. Maybe where you've punished yourself for the past. Maybe you feel sexually wounded. Maybe something occurred to mess with your root chakra and sacral spot. So yeah, thank you for joining me. This is just a really quick breakdown of the potential healing that we can experience, that we can ask for assistance in, to bring attention to the alignments that we're having and how long they're lasting. And yeah, be gentle with yourself at this time. If you're feeling irritable, if you're feeling triggered, again, take your attention from the outside world and bring it inward and see if maybe it's pointing to something that doesn't feel full, something that doesn't feel whole, something that feels like a little bit of a void and insecurity. These are the things that point to where we need to fill up for ourselves. That's something that we should do, our self-healing, that we can't rely on the world to heal us, that this is an internal mission and something that only you can do for you. So I hope that you've enjoyed this, spent a little time with me. This is a real impromptu live. I appreciate everyone who joined, and thank you.